Luke, sorry it's off topic, and I don't know if you already covered it, but are you worried about the news that Outlaws map is going to be way bigger than Odyssey? No, I think that was actually taken out of context. Let's actually touch on that. I think that's a good thing to reference real quick, because I know what you're talking about, and I think that was taken out of context. So let me try to assuage your fears. Just last month, Ubisoft finally showed off their big budget single player Star Wars game titled Star Wars Outlaws. If you're wondering how big each planet size is in the game, want to know more? Speaking of the latest issue of Edge magazine, creative director Julian Gurity, I don't know, shared some new details regarding Star Wars Outlaws, with one of them confirming that each planet in the game is big enough that traversing it, even with high-speed vehicles, will feel like a, quote, journey. In comparison, the size of one planet might be equivalent to 2 or 3 zones in Odyssey. So the reason I wanted to say that I think that this has largely been taken out of context, because I've seen people quote this as saying each of the planet maps is going to be 2 to 3 times the size of the zone of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which people are twisting to mean 2 to 3 times the size of the map of Odyssey, which is not what that means. Assassin's Creed Odyssey zones, technically this island is considered a zone. When you pull up the game, it's like highlighted in its own little bubble, so you can see it as its own little thing. But each of these is technically considered its own zone. Heidel, there we go. And like over here, this area, this right here is its own zone. And then this city over here is its own zone. And then up here is its own zone. So when they say 2 to 3 zones is the size of the planet, all they're saying is like this land, like 2 to 3 zones, 3 zones, this stretch of land, that's how big the planet map is, which is okay if it's hand built, you know, it's still very large, especially if there's a handful of planets to go and explore. But I've seen people say that no, it's 2 to 3 times the map, the zone of the whole map for each planet. And I'm like, that's not what they said. They said 2 to 3 zones. So like this area is a handful of zones. So you're probably talking like this area, maybe this area right here. So we just have to be precise. Each one of these islands is its own zone. So, you know, you could twist this any which way to describe the size of the maps. But clearly the game's going to be pretty big. But it's not going to be like stupid huge. You know, I fully expect it to be like, oh yeah, each planet is pretty large. It's cool. I don't expect it to be like, oh my God, what are we going to, and it's not going to be procedurally generated garbage. They're saying they're hand placing items of interest, places of interest. They're doing a lot of hand decorating, hand designing for those levels. So it should be a little more compelling than just like throwing crap on the floor. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that, because I've seen people tweeting stuff out or making TikToks being like, you know, your standard TikTok that you see in the gaming space where they're for some reason yelling everything. Today I wanted to talk about how Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the biggest map you've ever heard with Star Wars Outlaws was going to have the bigger map of that game. And then you watch it and it's just the guy taking that out of context and then somehow not understanding articles in the English language or conjunctions and things. And so they just end up lying to their audience when they should know better. And it's really frustrating, because then that gets twisted and taken out of context even further. And then other people report on it and it just spins and spins and spins. But really, I mean, what they're saying is that the size of each planet map is going to be a good chunk of what you saw in Odyssey, like probably a big city and then some surrounding lands, like we've seen in a lot of other games that allow you to explore multiple planets. Nothing too crazy. He took my thing.